I'm Jim Perko, the Executive Chef for Cleveland Clinic Center for Integrative and Lifestyle Medicine. I'm here with our partner, Kim Pierce.
I'm a registered dietitian and certified diabetes care and education specialist here at Stephanie Thomas Jones Health Center.
And now we're going to demonstrate to you what culinary medicine is all about. So first off, we're going to make a broccoli and bean salad. And there's some important points about doing this salad, and we're going to get into them, starting off with the main event, which is broccoli. This is the vegetable that we're going to use. It's an amazing vegetable. It's extremely nutritious, right? And Kim's going to go more into the nutritional points of the broccoli, but we want you to like it and taste it, want people to eat it, so I'm going to go into some preparation points real quick. First of all, you see it on this tray. And it's on a towel because we want our broccoli dry. We don't want it just crunchy and crispy and al dente. We want it dry, okay? Why? Here's why. Look, I got some water here, okay? If this was a pot of water and you took the broccoli out of the water and you shocked it in cold water, which is classical that people do, they'll run it under cold water to cool it down. We don't want to do that. As soon as we take it out of the hot water, if we were blanching it, we want to drain it really good and we put it on a towel. Now, we could cool it in a refrigerator where we get convection air cooling it down. Point is, we want it dry. Reason being is, if this broccoli was shocked in cold water, okay, and wasn't properly dried, this floret part is like a sponge, okay? So look what happens. If I squeeze it, look at all the water that comes out of here. And we don't want that. Why don't we want that? Is because it would dilute all the goodness that we're going to put in this bowl when we prepare it. This is the mise en place for our goodness, right? We got lemon juice, we got extra virgin olive oil, we got garlic, parsley, and we're going to put in some jalapeno chili. We're going to use less oil because we're going to add beans to it, legumes, in this case, Great Northern beans, loaded with protein, dietary fiber that Kim will talk more about. Now, when we combine all this together, all that goodness, if that broccoli was wet, it would dilute it. And we don't want that to happen. We want people to say, wow, this is amazing broccoli. And by this broccoli being dry and al dente, that's going to happen. Here's a couple more points. First of all, the broccoli is same size pieces. Hugely important. Consistency in size equates to consistency in cooking. Big and small don't cook the same. Also, when you have broccoli, this part's going to cook quicker than this part. So when we score or cut the stalk part, the stem part, now it cooks more evenly than if it was whole and round. Those are important points about it. I'm going to let Kim briefly talk about some nutrition points on the broccoli before I move on.
And broccoli is such a great vegetable. It provides our bodies with a lot of fiber, both insoluble and soluble fiber. The goal with fiber per day is 25 to 35 grams, which many people never really hit that high. So incorporating the broccoli with Chef's example here and the beans is a great way to increase that fiber. Since he has blanched the broccoli as well, for those who sometimes have some GI side effects, this really helps to bring down that concern so that you can enjoy this health benefit.
So Kim, you know what? Keep on going. Let's go through the whole mise en place. What about the beans?
So beans are wonderful. They provide our bodies with fiber. There's tons of vitamins and minerals in beans. When we look at all the folate and all those different minerals and vitamins, beans usually are on the top of the list for those, along with a great carbohydrate and protein source.
And when they study all the blue zones around the world, the parts of the world that have the longest living population, the most centurions, Sardinia, Italy, Okinawa, Japan, Costa Rica, the only one in the United States, Loma Linda, California, those places, all of them eat legumes. So they're an essential nutrient. What about the lemon juice, Kim?
Lemon juice is a wonderful option. It provides us with vitamin C. And as we go along this mise en place here, lemon juice also helps to flavor food without having to add salt.
And the extra virgin olive oil.
Extra virgin olive oil is wonderful. It is a monounsaturated fat and it's very heart healthy.
And we got the garlic and the jalapeno chili and the parsley, 3 more.
Exactly. These are wonderful ways of adding flavor to food without adding that salt again. Unfortunately, in most American diets, we have way too much sodium. So these are wonderful ways of adding vegetables as well as herbs and spices without adding salt.
You know, and I'll tell you, a lot of people don't realize it, but parsley, not only is it a great herb, it's fresh, it provides a lot of flavor, it is loaded with vitamin C. Most people don't go to the store and say, oh, I think I'll grab some vitamin C on the shelf, right? You know, but that's what happens when you go and you use fresh fruits and vegetables. Okay, so I got to do 2 more things to the mise en place that I want to show you. First I'm going to do with the garlic. Then I'm going to show you how to blister a chili on the stove. So now I'm going to go on garlic, okay? I have garlic already chopped, but I want to show you something about chopping it that's really important. Okay, so first of all, I got a towel here that I put on my cutting board. And actually, I think there's one more important part I need to show you. Right now, my cutting board doesn't move, okay? Reason why is because I got a wet towel underneath it, and this is wet paper towels. If I didn't have this cutting board would slide, and that's not good because a cutting board that moves isn't as safe, all right? So by taking these wet paper towels, putting them on the table, now my cutting board isn't going anywhere, right? So when I'm going and I'm cutting and chopping, and I'll get a little bit into knife skills in a moment, but that's important that my cutting board is stationary. Now, I got a couple garlic cloves here and I want to show you, but I'm going to peel them on this paper towel, okay? Why do I want to do that? Here's why. Most people don't wash their onions before they peel them. Most people aren't going to take a head of garlic and wash it before they go to separate the cloves and peel it. And you know why you want to have this paper towel? Is because that onion and that clove of garlic was in a bin in the store with a whole bunch of other onions and heads of garlic. And who knows who was touching it and what's on there, right? So if you did that straight on your cutting board, you just cross-contaminated the surface of your cutting board with everything that was on the outside of that onion or garlic. So I could help reduce that risk, okay, by having this paper towel. Now, the next thing is, all the research that I ever looked at, that if there's a health benefit to garlic, which there's many, right? It's in the oil. It's in the allicin that's in the oil of the garlic. So if you take garlic and you take a knife and you press on it to, you know, try to break it so you could peel it, if you press too hard, the problem with doing that is you release the oil. The oil sticks to the paper, that sticks to your finger, and you are losing what science says has the benefit, right? So instead, if we take our clove of garlic, and I go and I'm not going to cut right through, I'm just going to push it down, and look what happens. See, I'm peeling this. Now I'm going to go to the other side, like so. It's the exact same thing, and I'm going to rock this clove out, just like this. I'm using my knife to hold down this peel. And what happens is, look, here's my garlic clove intact, and here's my paper right here. So the oil is still inside, and here's the paper. That's what's, now I could put that garlic onto my cutting board, okay? And then I could proceed, cut with the back part of the knife. If you think of the physics. Can't cut the tip of my finger if the blade is touching my knuckle. Okay, so now that we sliced the garlic, now we release the oil. I could see the oil on my knife, okay? So now, okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of the salt and actually some of the pepper that was in my recipe here. 2 reasons. 1, salt's abrasive. It'll help facilitate the chopping of the garlic, and it'll keep that oil together, and it's going in my recipe anyhow. So now, again, I'm on my knuckle. I do a coarse chop like so. Okay, now that I got a coarse chop, I really release the oil. Now I could mash it like so, just with my knife, right? So they sell a lot of garlic presses. Some you got to watch because you could lose some of the oil in the press. Now I really release the oil, but look what happens. I could scrape it all up with my knife and capture all that oil. Okay, I could give it one quick little chop again like so. Give it one quick little smash. Now I got a garlic paste. Look at that. And now I'm able to capture, just by scraping all this goodness up, all the benefits that science says garlic has. And whoever's going to taste this salad, it's going to have extra garlic. So now we're going to show you how to take a jalapeno chili that is normally really sharp, right? It's hot, that's why a lot of people don't like it. But if you take it and blister the skin, you could diminish the potency and it makes it so much more palatable. I just got a simple 2-pronged fork. I'm going to skewer it like so. I have a flame here and I'm going to put it on the flame and we're just going to blister the skin. Now, I'm going to take, we don't want to blacken or burn it, because if we do that, you have the carcinogens that come along with it in anything that's blackened or burned. So I'm going to do this in some stages to show you what I want and how it works, okay? And that way it'll explain what I'm talking about that much better. So I'm going to blister some and you'll be able to see what that's like. And then I'm going to do it where it goes beyond blistering to show you what we don't want to do, okay? So we're going to get one that's just, and you know what comes after black is what's even worse is gray. When you see gray, that's like ash. Now you mutilated that chili. Okay, so now to get it off, we have some plastic wrap. We're just going to put it in here like so. What happens when you cover it in plastic wrap, just for like 30 seconds, the heat will steam this and it'll peel so much easier. Also, it's a good idea to take your fork and either run it under cold water or something, so if you set it down, you don't inadvertently touch it and burn your fingers. So now I'm going to show you about peeling this. Okay, so now you saw how to char that chili, right? So we took it out of the plastic wrap and look what happens, right? It just peels right off. And so you really don't need to blacken it. This is the part you don't want to do. You don't want it blackened like that. All you need is just this little bit of blistering and it comes right off, okay? Then I do it on the towel, just like I did the garlic. It captures all the parts I'm taking off. Once you get that chili done, okay, and you cut it in half, now you see the veins and you see these seeds. That's hot too. So we want to take that and remove it with a knife, right? So very simply, you could just take that vein of seeds out like so. It comes right out. Scrape any remaining seeds. And then what you have is this chili, and now there's no veins, no seeds, okay? So I'm going to set that over here, right? And so now you take your chili that has no skin, no veins, no seeds, right? And now, very simply, just like on the garlic, right, the way you would cut, okay, the knife goes on your knuckle. You're going to make julienne strips like so, and then cut them crossways. And then now you get a nice small dice like that. Okay, there's our jalapeno chili. We're going to add this to what we already have. So now the salad will have extra chili and garlic. So now we're going to put that there, all right? Okay, so now we start to make this, okay? Classic vinaigrette, right? 3 parts oil, 1 part acid. We don't want to do that, right? Because a tablespoon of oil's got how many calories, Kim?
100.
Right. So you're talking 100, 120 calories in a tablespoon of oil. It don't matter what kind. That's a lot of calories, right? So we want to use less oil, okay? So we're going to do equal parts. We're not going to do 3 to 1. We're not going to do 2 to 1. We're going to do 1 to 1. And to compensate for using less oil and to make it thick, we're going to thicken it with these legumes, right? fiber and protein, that's what we want, okay? So our oil goes in. Now, if you just took, you know, butter and put it on a piece of bread or dip bread in olive oil, that olive oil isn't working for you, or the butter. It serves as nothing more than a moisturizer for that bread. When you do something like this oil, you are infusing it with flavors. So now it's working for you. Now we add the garlic, right? When we put the garlic in, now we got a garlic oil, right? If I added lemon zest to this, now I got a lemon infused garlic oil. If I add my jalapeno chili to it, right? Now I got a chili and then lemon and garlic oil. So I'm gonna add my parsley to this, okay, like so. I got my salt and pepper, and now I'm gonna whisk in lemon juice, all right? This is gonna help to create an emulsion. I'm pouring in slowly, right? Because I wanna incorporate all this and get a nice emulsion going. And this becomes my dressing for that broccoli that is nice and dry and crisp and al dente. Okay, now, again, as I wanted to tell you, to compensate for the lack of oil, here's what I got so far. That's my dressing, but I want to thicken it because I want this broccoli to really stick to all the goodness in this bowl. So, you could take a portion of these beans, right? And I'm just going to mash some. Now you can mash it with a knife. I just happen to have gloves, so I'm going to use my hands because I want to show you. Look. So I'm going to make this just like mashed potatoes. Look what I'm doing. I'm macerating these legumes. See that? And look, it's going right into here. I'm not going to do all of it, just a little bit, okay? And that's how because they're cooked. Now, but by mashing them this way, okay, here's what's going to happen, all right? When I go to mix this, I'm really going, and you could take a spoon or something and mash it too. A lot of ways to do it. Okay, I just work with I'm a touchy-feely person, and I do a lot with my fingers, so the gloves help make it sanitary. So now, check this out. Look how thick this got. You can see the tracks of the whip, right? This broccoli is gonna absorb all the goodness in this bowl. So now, because it's dry, okay, we're gonna take our broccoli, put it in like so, add our remaining beans, okay? And then now, you know, again, because I got gloves, I mix it with a spatula, but I wanna get all this absorbed, okay? And I'm gonna mix all this together. Look, I scraped the bottom of the bowl. And now this broccoli captured all that goodness. So now when you go to put this and serve this, look how beautiful this is and how nutritious and healthy. We talked about in our slides how to love the foods that love you back. Everything in here is going to love you back. So there we go. And so now you could see something loaded with dietary fiber. Everything will love you back in there. When I was talking with Kim about what recipes to do for this, she said she wanted to do something with roasting vegetables, that she gets a lot of requests from her patients on how to roast vegetables. So we're going to do one today. And we decided to pick Brussels sprouts. Why? Because A, they're coming into season now, and they're really healthy for you. Why, Kim?
I love Brussels sprouts. They are a great non-starchy vegetable. We try in our office to really help patients to increase their non-starchy vegetable consumption, as they have a lot of vitamins, minerals, and fiber. So that's really a trend we're talking about today. And one thing I really like about the roasted Brussels sprouts, if you had them a long time ago, maybe you had them steamed or raw, a lot of times I hear people aren't so excited about them, but when you roast them, it brings out so much more flavor, which I'm excited for the chef to show us today.
Yeah, and as Kim said, a Brussels sprout is cruciferous. It's got soluble and insoluble fiber, but the problem with cruciferous vegetables is if you overcook them, then they're not as palatable anymore. Think about St. Patrick's Day. If you went and got cabbage and the cabbage was overcooked, how you could smell it from far away. Or cauliflower when it's overcooked. that's cruciferous. Even kale cruciferous, when it's overcooked, isn't as palatable. So a way to get this where it's fully cooked, but still to proper degree of doneness, here's how you do it. So first of all, when you go to the store to buy these, okay, and when they come into season, you want them when they're firm and heavy for their weight and size. If they start to get light, and if you see these, see how these leaves are all tucked in nice and tight? That's a good thing. If they're starting to come apart, that means this was old already. Moisture is starting to leave it. That's why the leaves are lifting, because it's losing moisture. But when they're all tucked nice and tight like this, it's holding all that moisture. That's what we want. Okay, so now, a couple things. We're gonna cut and score this, but you know, I always tell people you need a big knife for a big job, little knife for a little job. This is a little job, so you could use a paring knife, right? So now we're gonna cut the stem off like so. Okay, now we're gonna cut these in half for purposes of roasting them, but if you wanted to cook them whole, you wanna score that stalk, just like this. I got the knife in this way, and then I'm gonna put a cross cut in. Here's what happens when you did that. Now, if whether they were cooked in moisture, like if you wanted to parboil them or roasting them, this is going to allow this to cook faster. Here's why. If you cut this in half, you'll see there's a core there, right? So this core is going to take longer to cook than the leafy part, right? And we want it to cook more evenly so we don't overcook that leafy part. And by scoring this, that allows that to happen. So now we're going to put our Brussels sprouts that are already cut in half. We got them in a bowl, okay? And then now we got garlic, we got paprika, we got salt and pepper. Okay, so again, we're going to make this rub, and then we're going to put it on a roasting pan, and we're going to roast this for about 30 to 35 minutes at 350 degrees, okay? So now I'm going to push these to the side. I got my olive oil, my garlic, okay, my paprika, my salt and pepper, okay, and now I'm going to mix this, make a rub, okay, and I'm just going to toss these Brussels sprouts in it. Now, this is just a basic one. But you could do the different kind of rub and morph it into other variations. You could add harissa spice, right? Or you could put in, you know, extra garlic, let's say, if you wanted to, okay? You could put in lemon zest if you wanted to infuse this with lemon. The zest would work really good, better than lemon juice, because you're not diluting the oil. So that there's so many different ways you could do it, right? Now when it's coated, perfect. Look, hardly any oil was in there, none left in the bowl, but this is another example of making that oil work for you. You spread them all out. Important to have same size pieces for consistency and size equates to consistency and doneness. Put them into the oven. If you use a non-stick tray, not only does it make cleanup that much easier, and by the way, when you buy them, you just want to make sure that they're PFOA free. They have none of the chemicals that they used to put in non-stick cookware. Okay, so they're much safer now, and this way it helps reduce any chances for burning. After 30 to 35 minutes, this is what they look like. So this brown on here, that was taking the naturally occurring sugars that are in here, and it caramelized them. Just like in an onion, right? If you had an onion raw, you taste the sulfur. When you caramelize it, it's like grilled onions. It becomes sweet, and that's what happened with this Brussels sprout. It sweetens it. That's what Kim was talking about. And this is a way to get children or other family members to enjoy foods that are going to love you back. Cruciferous vegetables, soluble and soluble fiber, and they taste awesome. Just like we said in our lecture, right? Don't think about all the things that you are advised not to have. Instead, you want to think about all the things you can have. This next recipe is a perfect example of that. We're going to do mac and cheeseless. This is our version of macaroni and cheese, which not going to love you back, and mac and cheeseless will. Reason mac and cheese traditionally won't love you back is because A, they use whole cow milk generally. They thicken it with a roux that is generally all-purpose white flour mixed with butter or some type of fat to be a thickening agent to thicken that milk to make a classic white sauce or bechamel sauce, right? Then they add a bunch of cheese. Many people add different kinds of cheese that are loaded with saturated fat. And then when they take it out of the oven, some people might put crust on it or more cheese. And again, all of that combined is not going to love you back. Promotes inflammation. Remember, anytime you eat anything, you're either feeding or fighting disease. And when you have those products, they promote inflammation, and that's what we don't want to do. This one's going to be anti-inflammatory. Here's what we're going to do. Here's our mise en place, okay? So first of all, we took sweet potatoes, right? And I'll let Kim's going to give more detail on that, but we're going to take sweet potatoes and we cook them in a pot with unsweetened almond milk. Or you could use any kind of alternative milk. It could be hemp milk, right? It could be soy milk, or you can mix them if you want, right? Then, after we cooked it, we're going to take it, we're going to put it in the blender, and I'm going to blend it with cashews, some Dijon mustard, salt, pepper, a smidget of cayenne, a little bit of hot sauce. You'll see how it comes out just like a cheese sauce. Then we're going to put it over whole grain pasta. This is going to love you back so much more. This is a healthy version. And Kim, you want to give some detail on all the benefits of this?
Yes, definitely. So I love all the substitutions in this recipe because, as Chef was saying, we are changing from a lot of heavy saturated fat coming from animal products to lowering the fat content, but also utilizing more healthy fats, especially those that are found in the nuts here. So nuts are going to be in our cashews, healthy fat, along with a great source of protein. Our sweet potatoes provide us vitamin A and the beta carotene. Also trying to get more of those fiber in there as well from our sweet potatoes. And then we have the whole wheat pasta. One of the easiest switches we can do is just going from a white grain product, like the white refined, to a whole grain. So like the whole wheat pasta here is going to increase that fiber content that we've really been talking a lot about today.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you get whole grains, you get the germ, you get the bran, and the endosperm of that wheat kernel. You get it all. That's what we want in whole grains. Okay, let's make this. All right, so now when you go to make it, we're going to take these cashews, which were raw cashews. We soaked them overnight, and now we drained them, okay? And we're going to put them in our blender, okay? To make it easier to blend first, I want to just add some of the liquid. So I'm going to try to strain off some of my sweet potatoes where I just get the almond milk, because that'll help me blend my cashews a little bit easier just by having that liquid in there, see? Okay, well, I want to scrape this out because I want to get all that goodness out of this bowl, okay? I want every bit of it. All right, there we go. Okay, and then I'm going to add the hot sauce because that's going to give me a little bit more liquid. Scrape this out here. There we go. Get all that, yeah. Okay, so there, we got that. Okay. And then I'm going to put in my salt and pepper and my little bit of Dijon mustard, okay? All right, there. Now I got my wet ingredients, the liquid, and now we're going to blend it. Now, if you get a blender and you have one with a variable speed, it helps because now you could start off slow and ramp it up and it just don't go whoop and then splash everything, right? This one has a variable speed, so now see, it's going nice and slow, okay? Now I could ramp it up, okay? Okay, and that was pretty much all I needed. Now I'm going to add the sweet potatoes, okay, that we cooked in our pot. All right, put that there, okay. And now our sweet potatoes go in, all right. And a little bit more liquid. Okay, we get all that in there, we're good. And I got one more that came out. All right, now blend this, and now you'll see the magic happen. All right. Okay, we're done. Look how quick that was, right? Okay, but check this out. Here's the magic. Okay, we're gonna set that there. Now, here's our pasta, as Kim said, whole grain. But this is what's beautiful. So look at this. It comes out just like a cheese sauce. Look how thick that is and rich, right? And no saturated fat. So now we want to scrape out all this goodness, okay? Now think about it. Put your thinking cap on for a moment. There's a lot of other things you could do with this sauce. Example, if I added, you know that jalapeno we had in that other recipe? If I added jalapeno to this, I got a nacho cheese sauce, right? I could put it over vegetables or potatoes and make a gratin, right? Like a gratin potatoes, but it'll be healthier because it won't have cheese that's loaded with cow cheese with saturated fat. Okay, that's good enough for now. Now look at what happens when you mix this. Look how gooey and creamy this is. Isn't it beautiful? Okay, so now we're going to take this, set this aside so you could see. Okay. Now we got an 8x8 pan, and we're just going to take this and put it in a small, this is a half recipe that I'm making. This goes into an 8x8. If you were going to do a full recipe, you'd do about a 9x13 pan. But look how thick this cheese is. Look, you can see how it's just on top. This is beautiful. Okay, so there we go. Set that aside. Now, take this, put it in a 350 oven for about 30 minutes. And when you're done, here's what you got. And this is mac and cheeseless. No inflammatory product in here. All this is going to love you back. And now you scoop this and you put this guy on your plate. And you've got a perfect example of how to take something that's traditionally, culturally traditional, revise it to make it where it's going to love you back. So again, don't think about all the things you can't have. Think about all the things you can have. You go to that can't have world, it will sustain you every time. And if you want, everybody likes hot sauce. I got some over here. You could just take hot sauce, put more hot sauce on top, whatever. And this one is a perfect example of how to take something that was traditionally a favorite, but you knew deep down inside you probably wasn't the healthiest recipe, and now you can make it where it's going to be healthy and love you back and still enjoy your family traditions. We're going to do our last recipe, so we're going to do dessert, okay? And that's a favorite for a lot of people. But we're going to make a version of ice cream that's going to be healthy. And that's really important because when you think about it, ice cream, you know, everybody can eat a cup and then want to eat another cup. Why? Because it has all three main additives: added sugar, added sodium, and added fats. It's the trifecta of all the things that promote inflammation. And so we're going to show you how to make, instead of having ice cream, how to make a preparation that's going to be so much healthier. We're going to make a vegan milkshake, okay? So first off, when you have those bananas that you buy at the store and they start to get overly ripe and they got all those brown spots on them, so all you got to do is peel them. After you peel them, wrap them in plastic wrap like this and put them in your freezer. It's also a good idea to put a date on them too, on a piece of tape, and put tape on there so you know how old they are, okay? So, if you just took this banana by itself and you sliced it and froze it, man, it's just like eating ice cream in itself. Or you could even take it, skewer that slice, put it in the freezer. Now after it's frozen, take it out of the skewer and dip it in some melted, tempered 70% cocoa, dark bittersweet chocolate, and now you got a chocolate candy bar. Or if you wanted to make it like a Captain Crunch, you could take some toasted almonds, high in omega-3 fats, crumble that into the chocolate, and now you got a crunchy chocolate candy bar. That's an ice cream bar that would really love you back, okay? And plus the fact that it was a small slice, you don't have to eat the whole thing. You could just eat one of those little discs, okay? But now we're gonna make a milkshake. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put in a banana, then we're gonna add alternative milk, vanilla, and Kim's gonna tell you why these next two ingredients are so important, the almond butter and the flaxseed combined with the rest of it. How about it, Kim?
So almond butter is such a great option. It is going to offer us protein. So what protein does, especially when we have a carbohydrate, fruit is very healthy carbohydrate. Fruit has natural sugars, like our banana here, natural sugar, as well as a good amount of potassium. But the almond butter with the protein will actually help to slow down that digestion for you, so your blood sugars won't go as high. And on top of that, with the flaxseed, you're getting heart-healthy omega-3s, which are very beneficial, plus the omega-3s from the flaxseed. Flaxseed has fiber in it too, so that also helps to slow down that digestion as well.
That's right. So now we're going to put all these together. I'm just going to break this up a little bit because it'll make it easier to blend like so. There we go. And we're going to put in our unsweetened almond milk. But you could also add unsweetened hemp milk, soy milk if you want. Soy milk will add more protein, but also adds more calories, okay? We're gonna add our vanilla, and then we're gonna scoop out almond butter and put in our flaxseed. Just as Kim said, when you add a healthy fat and protein, as in the almond butter and the flaxseed, what that's doing is it's taking those naturally occurring sugars in that banana and making them a little less glycemic, right? So you're absorbing them slower. And that's so important. So not just in this smoothie, but in anything that you're going to make that's got a lot of fruits in there. So if I wanted to make a berry crisp and I put in chia seed or flaxseed in, it takes those naturally occurring sugars and makes them less glycemic too, in addition to helping thicken it. Okay, we got everything ready to go. Now we're going to blend this, and you'll see how you get this great milkshake. And that's it. 1, 2, 3. And so now that we're done, okay, you're able to serve the people that you love in your family something that's going to love them back. Look how beautiful and thick this is, okay? This is amazing. It's rich. I don't know that the camera crew is going to get any of this recipe, okay? There you go, Kim. So we want to thank you for joining us, for being with us and watching, and here's to your health. Stay well.